I don't have page 4. I gotta turn off.
Okay, why don't you just use the next blank page? What's going on? What is that? Give it to me. What is this?
Just leave it alone.
You think this is funny? Tito, would this be funny if it were a picture of you?
It ain't.
Close the workbooks. Maybe we should talk about art. Tito's got real talent, don't you think? You know something? I saw a picture just like this once in a museum. Only it wasn't a black man. It was a Jewish man. And instead of the big lips, he had a really big nose, like a rat's nose. But he wasn't just one particular Jewish man. This was a drawing of all Jews. And these drawings were put in the newspapers by the most famous gang in history. You think you know all about gangs? You're amateurs. This gang would put you all to shame. And they started out poor and angry, and everybody looked down on them until one man decided to give them some pride, an identity, and somebody to blame. Take over neighborhoods? That's nothing compared to them. They took over countries. And you want to know how? They just wiped out everybody else. Yeah, they wiped out everybody they didn't like and everybody they blamed for their life being hard. And one of the ways they did it was by doing this. See, they'd print pictures like this in the newspapers. Jewish people with big, long noses. Blacks with big, fat lips. They'd also publish scientific evidence that proved Jews and blacks were the lowest form of human species. Jews and blacks were more like animals. And because they were just like animals, it didn't really matter whether they lived or died. In fact, life would be a whole lot better if they were all dead. That's how a Holocaust happens. And that's what you all think of each other.
You don't know nothing, homegirl.
No, I don't, Marcus, so why don't you explain it to me?
I ain't explaining shit to you.
So you even know we live.
We was here first, man. Shut that shit up, boy.
All right. So what you're saying is, if the Latinos weren't here, or the Cambodians, or the blacks, or the whites, or whoever they are, if they weren't here, everything would be better for you. Isn't that right?
It'd be better if you were here.
Right. It starts with a drawing like this. And then some kid dies in a drive-by, never even knowing what hit him.
You don't know nothing. You don't know the pain we feel. You don't know what we gotta do. You got no respect for how we living. You got us in here teaching us this grammar shit, and then we gotta go out there again. And what are you telling me about that, huh? What are you doing in here that makes a goddamn difference to my life?
You're raising your hand?
The thing that you said before. The Holocaust?
Holocaust, yes.
What is that?
Raise your hand if you know what the Holocaust is.
At the beginning of the tour, they give you a card with the child's picture on it. You can find out who they were and what camp they were sent to. And at the end of the tour, you can find out that they survived. I got a little girl from Italy.
Kristallnacht, they called it, the night of broken glass. Hundreds of synagogues looted and burned, more than 7,000 Jewish stores destroyed, over 100 Jews killed.
In the French province of Ain. Among the children deported that day to Birkenau was 11-year-old Liliane Berenstein, who before leaving left behind a letter to God.
My little boy died. He got off the train and they killed him. I don't know why it bothered me so much. I've seen death all my life. This little boy was only 5.
Miss G had a beautiful dinner for us at the hotel where she works. She invited real Holocaust survivors from the museum to meet us. There was Elizabeth Mann.
I had my parents, my sister, my 2 brothers.
Gloria Angar.
If any of you have seen someone with a number on their arm, these were the lucky people, the people who, when we came to Auschwitz, when they tattooed the people, they took us to do the slave work, not the others, and that included many of my family.
Some of the young kids, I was at that time 11 and a half years old.
Addie Eli.
And where to go, I didn't know, but I remember one place where I used to live. So when I ran there was not one Jew left.
I was in the worst camp. I was in Auschwitz.
And Renee Firestone.
And when I arrived, my parents were immediately taken away from me. My little sister, who was then 14 years old, stayed with me for a little while. And then later on, I was separated from her also.
She lost her whole family at the camps.
If you saw the film,
she came to this country with $4 in her pocket and a newborn baby. I'll never forget these people.
And then she was killed because they didn't want to send her.
I can't believe Miss G did all of this for us.